Hi guys, my name is Katie Ferguson, and today for this assignment I decided to pick Piaget's theories. Basically, first I'll say his theory talks about a child beginning at the level of sensory motor and then moving to pre-optional, then it goes to concrete operations, and then eventually it will meet at the formal operation. And basically he has 4 stages. The first stage is the sensory motor, which is infancy. An example of what his theory means for sensory is he'll have one of his workers have a small infant child, and they'll be sitting on the ground, and the worker will put a toy that the baby was playing with under a blanket, and then all of a sudden the baby starts crying, and the baby has no clue where it went because they're not old enough to know that, oh, the toy's right under the blanket. The second theory that he has is the pre-optional theory, and that's basically toddler through early child. Basically what they did for this one is they had a little girl, and the worker put 5 quarters across in 2 rows, so that's 10 quarters. And then she put them even, and she asked the child, which one is big, or is there more, or are they the same? Child counts them, and she's like, they're the same. So the worker separates 1 row out farther, and she's like, now which ones is there more? And she points at the one that's separated. She's like, why? Why does that one have more? And the child's like, well, because they're spread out more and they're spaced more. The next theory that he did was the concrete optional, which is elementary through early adolescence. And for that one, they had an elementary school child, and they had 2 glasses. They're both filled the same. They asked the child, are they both filled the same, or does one have more? Child's like, they're the same. So the worker will dump one of them into another cup that's longer. Then they ask the child which one has more. Child's like, the bigger one. She's like, why? And they're like, well, because it's longer, so this one has more in it. And she's like, oh, okay. And then finally, the last theory is the formal operation, which is adolescence through adulthood. And for this one, they asked a 6-year-old, if you hit a glass with a feather, will the glass break? If John hits a glass with a feather, will the glass break? He's like, no. And they're like, why? He's like, because a feather is soft, so it can't break glass. They did the same theory with an adult, and they asked the adult the same question. Will the glass break if you hit it with a feather? Or if John hits the glass with a feather, will it break? And she said, yes, it will break. So you see the difference of how adult or child answers stuff different, even though they've been in school longer. So I thought this theory was very interesting, just on the responses that the child or the adult gave to each of the workers. So that's why I chose Piaget's theories, because with studying it, I just thought it was very interesting, and how they did had an example of each of their theories on how each of the child responded to each of the theories. So that's why I did choose Piaget's, because I thought it was very interesting, just because of all the examples and how each child responds differently to it. So that's basically it. I'm very excited to see all the rest of everyone else's response.